It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name's Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are y'all doing?
Fantastic.
I'm here.
Yeah, getting there.
At least one of us is lying. Probably not Les, because I think he really is here.
Well, we're still waiting on Liz, because she says she's getting here. So.
Yeah. You know me, I'm always late.
She'll be here any moment, yeah.
Fashionably late.
Yeah. Hope everybody out there is doing okay. So, what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
I don't really have a lot to talk about.
On that note, good night, folks. See you next week.
Yeah. I'm almost finished with Boston Legal.
Didn't that go for like 8 seasons or something?
5.
Okay.
Yep.
So you crammed that in like 2 weeks. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know where your time has gone.
Right. Yeah, usually when the baby leaves, I come in here and turn on that and just chill. But no, I'm having an uneventful week. Yay!
First time for everything, right?
Right.
Wait. Isn't that 2 weeks in a row now?
Right, it is. I'm getting scared. You know.
So I was remembering. I thought I was remembering last week being kind of uneventful. So,
yeah.
Hey, that's good.
I think after the universe slammed me on my ass, it was like, okay, let's give her a break and find somebody else to laugh at for a while. So I'm hiding. It's somebody else's turn for a while, you know. That and spring cleaning. You find a lot of stuff. It's like, why did I buy this? Why do I have this?
Where did this Yoda doll come from?
Right.
It's canned bread.
Who the hell reads
What is
comic
an
books? I mean,
automaton?
God, come on.
So, yeah.
We have no clue, Liz. We don't know where all that stuff came from.
I don't either. Whoever Amazon is, they need to knock it off. I'm not interested.
What the hell is an aluminum falcon?
Yeah, not much.
Wow.
Well, hell, I'm not ready yet because I'm used to her going on for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
No, this is going to be one of those weird weeks because I don't really have that much either. I've been, I'm weird in this, I know, but I've been trying to stay ahead of the movies we're watching for this month. So I was watching next week's movie this week, which was longer than I remembered. So I mean, it's not a horrifically long movie or anything. It's no Titanic by any means, but it is longer than I thought it was. So it took me bits and pieces of more evenings than I expected. And I waste a lot of time playing video games these days anyway, so, you know. I haven't watched any interesting documentaries in a couple of weeks either, so I need to try to do that again.
Well, you'll get a break here real quick, so, and you'll be able to do that.
Yeah. I'll run out of movies.
Mm-hmm. I'll run out here real quick. Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's
I'm
interesting. Oh, sorry.
pretty quiet about it too. So
Wow, you guys are boring this week.
Right?
You know, some of us view this as a good thing.
thank God it's coming out.
I like boring.
What, you watched Think Oh God?
Book 2.
No.
So wasn't there like 3 or 4 of those?
There were
I
at
know
least 3, right?
Yeah, because there was Oh God Book 2, and Oh God, You Devil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, don't ask me how I just remembered that Oh God, You Devil was the third one. Because it just popped in my head. I liked the first one. And
The first one
then
was cool.
the second one was okay. It was essentially the same story, except for it being,
A kid?
grocery producer, a grocery dude in the first one, and then it's a kid in the second one, and then I didn't even see the third one.
Made more sense as a kid, I think.
You know what I liked that was kind of the same kind of premise? Joan of Arcadia. And did you guys ever watch that?
No.
It was really good. At least I liked it. High school girl, but it seemed like right at the end when things were getting really interesting and you're gearing up for the big fight, they cancel it. So it was like, okay.
Isn't that always the way?
Yeah. So it was like, huh. But she talked to God too.
Okay, well, for me, I got some new reading in. Got the hardcover Weird West Tales Jonah Hex, which collects the first 26 stories featuring Jonah. And some of these I had read before, and I don't remember how, because I don't think I have the individual books. But it was really kind of cool to read these again. It just kind of start that thinking again about, it really would be nice to have some straightforward westerns being done right now, just in any medium. As long as they're really good stories. But so it was kind of cool to check those out. I had found another channel on Twitch that I've been kind of watching. It goes on for 24 hours, so it's always on always on. And the person who ran it, I don't know if he filmed this or not, but it's literally a person walking around in Japan. So you're seeing all the sites and the different portions, different areas of Japan, and there's some really cool music that's being played. I mean, it's nice little R&B music or whatever you want to call it. But it's kind of nice to kind of watch and see the sites, because Japan's very beautiful. And then when you go into the cities with all the it's just so colorful and all that. It's really kind of cool to see. So it's been kind of an interesting experience, kind of watching that. And the other thing is, oh my God, we complain so much about the driving here. Oh Lord, man.
There's other places in the world it's terrible.
Oh, you could definitely see it here, because it's pretty much every man for himself saying, hey, if you're someone who happens to be trying to cross the street, you really need to be on your toes, because you could get run over. Mm-hmm. It's insane. But the rest of it's really cool, kind of to watch. So
interesting.
Yeah, I'll put a link in so we can have that in the show notes for everybody to check out, because it's kind of cool to see.
We can do that.
Yep. because it's really kind of relaxing. So after. Except for the traffic stuff, but so when you just kind of want to lay back and chill and all that, you've got that. You got the nice vibe with the music, and you just you can just kind of edge and just look and see how pretty it is.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. So before we get into this week's discussion, I'd like to once again point out that we do have a Discord up and running. It's been going for about a year now. Everybody's welcome to join us. There's no cost for sign up. There's no cost to download the app. Once you do that, you can just go to our website, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. And right there on the homepage, there is an invite. You just click on that little graphic, and you'll get the invite. Come join us. We post news items and funny stuff and other discussions. We usually have a monthly activity, and this month we're doing, since it's April, where we've been doing kind of movie Easter eggs. And that seems to be well liked. It seems like everybody's been enjoying that.
It's been cool.
So definitely do that if you're interested. We do a meetup online right there in the Discord in the For Everybody audio channel. So kind of just hang out there and talk about whatever. It's usually a good time. So. You're more than welcome to come join us if you're interested.
Yeah.
All right. We are continuing Sci-Fi Month. Last week was The Day the Earth Stood Still. And today we are going to cover the 1976 sci-fi film Logan's Run, which was based off a 1967 novel. From
Yes.
William Nolan. Yeah, William Nolan and George Clayton Johnson wrote this. So who would like to go first? Kind of discuss a little bit about the story and their thoughts about the film.
This one was weird. It was really weird. 2024. And the state that they're in now is that the world had overpopulated, and they live in this shiny bubble. I don't know. Everything's shiny. Why is it everything future, they make it shiny? I mean, do they not have color in the future? But Logan is asked. Logan's the main guy, hence the name of the movie. But he's a Sandman, which makes sure that these people can't run, because once you turn 35, you die. They kill you. Or is it 30?
30.
Yeah, it's 30.
Okay. So once you turn 30, you die. Well, or you don't die. I'm sorry.
It's not that simple.
Yeah. You go to Carousel, which has no horses, just people in bodysuits and flames, and you have to renew, which we find out later they die. There is no renewing; they die. But Logan kills one of the runners, and he finds an Ankh, which leads him to, which was supposed to be for sanctuary, was supposed to lead him to a sanctuary to where you wouldn't die at 30 and you didn't have to live in a shiny place. So he meets up with the girl, and side thing, if she didn't want to have sex, why did she put herself in a sex circle?
Okay. Before we get too far down this rabbit hole, I just want to give this movie credit for foreseeing Tinder.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yep.
Because
Yeah.
that's essentially what that was.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, you put yourself out in this thing and you get nope.
Swipe left or right.
Right.
Yeah. And you get to pick and choose. That is, yeah, it was Tinder. But she knows where Sanctuary is. And I guess the giveaway was the Ankh on her necklace.
Yeah.
Maybe. But, so they go through this, blah, 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 blah. And she finally trusts him, and they get to the outside world. And they find out there is an outside world that, you can grow old and you can have babies and, you know. So they go back and blow it up.
You grow up to be Peter yourself.
Yeah. You know. And they take the old guy to see all the young people. So, but I mean, all in all, it was pretty cool. Yeah. Like I said, there were some parts like Box that they could have skipped that part. That was kind of stupid. And you could tell it was a guy in a plastic mask because you could see his teeth in his mouth. It was like, this robot will bite you. And, okay, so that's the question I have. They told him the whole reason that he has to go find the sanctuary is because, his job and the other guy's jobs, they're kind of like cops. They have to catch all the runners, and they don't catch them, they kill them. So, she had said that there was like 1,035 people, runners. And he was like, no, that's impossible, So when he went to that place where everything was frozen and the robot was saying, I freeze everything from the plankton, blah, 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 blah. Did he freeze everybody? And that's where those 1,000 people were?
It wasn't specific. The impression I got was they showed stuff in the freezer and there were people in there. So
Yeah.
he had at least gotten some of them.
Because when they get to the outside world, there's only the old guy, which they didn't give him a name. So I'm not being rude by saying
Right,
he's
no.
the old man.
He's credited as old man in the credits.
Yeah, he's the old man. And he didn't have the crystal in his hand like they did, which was kind of like to tell you how old somebody was. And so he didn't come from there. So he wasn't any of the 1,000 that got away.
Right.
I was kind of thinking, I was hoping, they said there was one Sandman who had ran, and I was kind of hoping it was the old man. Kind of tie that end up. But
Why bother making anything make sense in this movie?
Right. They didn't, they're like, nope, we just throw that in there. And his friend, I'm your best friend, but I'm going to kill you.
He's got a job to do.
Jeez. Yeah.
Not if I kill you back.
Right. And he did.
Uh-huh.
By hitting him in the back with a flagpole. And it killed him.
There might have been some symbolism happening there, but anyway.
It's like, man, I have to be more careful when I pat the baby on the back. I didn't know that could kill somebody.
So quit doing it with the flagpole and you won't have any problems.
Right.
For my son listening, I do not beat your baby with Americanism.
I'm going to raise that kid to be a patriot.
Yep.
One way or the other. America.
We'll beat it into her.
Anyway. That's a
Yeah, like it was cool. Oh, and I was gonna post it to you guys, but I don't think I think I zoned out before I did. When they're walking back to the city, let me see if I can find that.
That was cool how they camped in the same spot that they had camped in before, but anyway.
Right. You're not supposed to notice that.
I guess not, right?
Let me find it.
As much money as they spent on models in this movie, you'd think they could afford 2 campsites, but whatever. It's all good.
Well, I was wondering when the old man was waiting for him to come out, he had made a little fire, and then all those people started touching him, because he was old and everything else.
Hmm.
Where'd the fire go? Did they just step on the fire to get to him? or, or what? I mean, that was kind of.
That's another one you weren't supposed to notice. Yeah. Well, I mean, you could play that off with camera angles too, but yeah,
Yeah.
the fire was not relevant anymore. The fire was only relevant when he was alone and didn't have all those people to keep him warm. And also the burning city behind him, but that's a different
Right.
problem too. But yeah.
Okay, so here it is. It says the water falls in a step Logan jumps into to get back into the dome,
Hmm.
are the active pool of the Water Gardens in Fort Worth, Texas. The main pool used to be 9 feet deep, but it closed in 2004 after 4 people drowned near the spot where Logan and Jessica dove in. When it reopened in 2007, the depth had been reduced to 2 feet. So it was right in our backyard.
Hmm. That part was anyway. I mean, other than the fact that they walked in a day and a half to Washington, D.C., I mean, you kind of got to wonder, but clearly that part was taken out of context.
Yeah.
Time was different then.
It totally was. I mean, it could have been just an editing thing where maybe they did walk for, I don't know, the month and a half it would take me to walk to Washington, D.C. from here. I don't know how long it would really take, but...
Because I could walk 1,000 miles.
Hey, at least the song that she got stuck in my head was the Hollies, not that. Because they have a song called Carousel, and now it's stuck in my head.
I was the same way.
Okay.
Okay, good. It wasn't just me.
No,
Yeah, it's a perfectly fine song. It's not a bad song at all. But it's stuck there now.
still.
Hmm. But yeah, I agree. This is a very interesting movie. This is a movie that, I mean, I've seen it before. I think a couple of times, but it has been a while, and so I mean, I think it's been long enough that I kind of came at it with fresher eyes. It's well, we'll put it this way. I kind of, out of curiosity, I kind of formed my own opinions, and then out of curiosity, I checked like ratings online. And most of the ratings are kind of middle of the road, and I understand why. Because there's kind of two aspects to this movie. The, a lot of what I read talked about how much they spent on like special effects and models and all of that stuff. And honestly, the models, I mean, the model of the city itself is fantastic. It
Yeah.
is just amazing, and it is intricate, and it looks really good. I kind of wish they'd spent a little more of that budget on the script, because as cool as this movie is visually, I couldn't make any sense of it from a story perspective at all. There's just so many things that just don't fit for me. Like I don't understand. I don't understand the whole thing with the Sandman. I, so they have cops, and their sole job is to chase down people who want to run away from the city.
Hmm. Then
But
what were the Cubs?
but
And why did they
everybody's
leave them there?
but everybody's happy. It's this paradise of a city, and there's everybody walking around looks ecstatic, and they're all beautiful, and they're all skinny, and they're all
Half naked.
well. The fashion in this movie is interesting because they're also all wearing their age color, and all the outfits do look kind of alike. But again, you're going to spend a lot of money on models. Maybe you spend a little less on costuming. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or maybe that was part of the point, was all of that. But I just, if you're brainwashing your residents of your city into being happy, what are they running from? Why is that such a big deal? And why do you, I mean, so much so that you need special cops whose job it is to straight up murder anybody who tries to leave. That seems a little harsh to me. And also, on top of that, these guys apparently have no idea how many runners they've missed over the years. Because boy, was he shocked when he saw that 1,000 number.
Yeah.
He's like, that's not possible. I'm like, really? Are you sure that's not possible? Because you guys are all drugged out anyway. What? How do you know you're not missing runners? And so, and this is kind of just the beginning. I mean, there's just this whole. I mean, I've read Brave New World, so I understand kind of where this is coming from. But man, it's very, very weird, and they kind of went out of their way to press that point home too, with the whole they're chasing Logan through the orgy room or whatever it was, and the gym, and you had the swimming pool thing and the spa. And it was just
Yeah.
hedonism gone mad. But if you're in a situation like that, why would anybody want to run away? I mean, sure, they're going to die when they're 30, but everybody dies when they're 30. It's not that big a deal. You go to the carousel and it's all good, and they get renewed, whatever that means. I actually thought the carousel thing was interesting too, because apparently they just sort of toss them up in the air and then they explode.
Oh, it's a bug zapper.
I thought skeet shooting was that was what I thought of.
Oh,
Yeah, they become skeet. Okay, so it's entertainment. That's fine. I can live with that. But
Well, I think their thing was reincarnation. Renew was another word for reincarnation. Because when he was seeing the babies down there, he was like, nobody knows how they get here or who the mom and dad was, you know.
Yeah, but the one he was looking at was Logan 6, so it clearly wasn't fucking Logan 5 in that body, because he's still standing right there looking at it, and he's got like 4 more years left. He make a big old deal out of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm not arguing with you, because I think you're right, but I'm saying it doesn't make sense, so they either didn't do a very good job of it, or they were being obvious about the fact that that was clearly not the case.
Yeah. See, I took it as a control. They overcame the problem, but they were too comfortable to let all these people go back to their normal lives. We want to control their lives with drugs and sex and whatever else. But every once in a while, even like people today, you get those people who wake up and go, wait a minute, this is it? This is it. There's nothing outside of here, or, you know, the free thinkers, if there's got to be more to life than within this city, you know, why do they want me to stay in the city so bad? So you would have to you get too many people thinking that way, you got a problem. So that's why they killed them.
Right, because by the time
Right.
they're 30, I guess they're smart enough to start figuring that out. I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
I also have to wonder why in a completely enclosed city like this, where everybody's happy and drugged up and getting it on and having a good time, why do you have a ghetto? Because right after he meets Jessica, he gets a call about a runner. And he takes off, and she's like, no, I'm staying with you. And so they get in the tube, and they go, and they stop in this place that is clearly very run down.
Yep. Well, that's where all the rebels were. And if
Why do
they
you need
know
rebels?
that all the cubs were, or that's what he called them, was cubs were there, well, couldn't that account to some of the 1,000 people that are missing?
Right. How are we keeping track of them if they're attempting to cut themselves off and failing, apparently.
Yeah.
It just
That kind of. What was that movie where the kids were on the island and was it Lord of the Flies?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what their situation reminded me of.
Yeah, but
The Peter Pan.
how cut
never
off
grow
were they?
up.
Because Logan jumped in a damn car and shoom, right through there was a tube straight there.
Right there. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it didn't make sense. I mean, how perfect a society is this if not only can you not keep people from wanting to leave, you can't keep people from just trashing their own neighborhood. I don't know. It
Yeah.
just didn't fit the vibe of the city
Mm-mm.
to me at all. And then we get to why exactly did Logan need to come back? I
Because
don't.
they had to experience fresh air and cats. I was like, are you kidding me?
He was
Freaking
miserable
cats?
the whole time, and she was complaining the whole time, and they were. I mean, they. I just.
She wanted a baby.
I missed something, and maybe but she didn't seem to think that yet. She hadn't gotten that far. They had just gotten the husband-wife thing idea going,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden, for some reason, he's got to go back. And, come on,
I gotta tell him.
Okay, so the city. I don't even remember what the thing was called. What was the AI called? Did it have a name?
Let me see.
I don't remember. But I mean, clearly it had some sort of thing about sanctuary, and so that's why it stripped him of his remaining time and sent him out there. Why the hell would he want to go back to that? He couldn't get a straight answer out of it when he asked, do I get my 4 years back?" And
Yeah,
it wouldn't answer him,
Mm-mm.
and so it clearly wasn't going to give them back. So why is he going back again? I mean, I find it hard to believe that he'd gotten in the short time from then to when they finally when he decided to come back. I find it hard to believe that he had decided, okay, I'm going to tear the system down. That seems like a big stretch.
Yeah.
But that's exactly what he did, and boy, did he do it fast. Of course, the AI was unstable to begin with, but that was hinted at earlier. But man, and then you get to, well, the city. I mean, it sure looked like it was exploding. And I don't know what the population of that city was to start with, but an awful lot of people poured out of it. And my first thought is, okay, so it's maybe mid to late evening, and all of these people who have literally never seen outside before, how many of them are going to die by morning?
Yeah.
Just from an inability to survive in the real world? How is this a happy ending?
Thinning the herd.
The herd was pretty thin already because all the living people, or most of them, were inside that city in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
I was puzzled by the huge crescendo of inspiring music at the end of this movie because I'm like, this is a catastrophe. What are you people happy about? It's the whole thing. I didn't get it. It was a very cool looking movie.
Mm-hmm.
I will give it major props for that. I mean, it won awards for that for special effects, and rightly so. But man, it didn't make much sense. I think it needed more. It needed somebody to, I don't know, think about the script or something.
Well, they couldn't think about script. They'd blown so much on effects.
I mean, I wonder how much of that they spent on the orgy room, but you know.
Yeah, they couldn't cut that, man.
And all the naked people in the freezer at Box's house. I don't know.
Yeah.
Personally, I wish they would have spent more money on getting good actors.
Ouch.
This was pathetic.
I see.
To me, there was one good actor in the movie, and he didn't show up till extremely late. I thought he had the best part, and that was it.
Peter Ustinov?
The man that played played Box.
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
That's not the one I'm speaking of.
oh, okay, okay.
That's not the good one. Believe me,
Okay, I was like, damn.
Lord. To me, this was a cash grab for several of the actors. It was almost a case of, well, I'll make this much money. I guess I'll do it.
Like the
Because it was so sad.
See,
The Box character
was
was,
the worst.
and you pointed out about the makeup, but I'm going to say that the book that this came from was a lot more exciting than what we got on screen. Because to me, they were able to get past Box in no time.
Yeah, pretty easily.
Yes. So I was scratching my head and wondering why the hell they were scrimping on some things, yet going full bore on the ridiculous. I felt sorry for some of the cast members because they were given something they really couldn't save themselves from. His compatriot was so baffled by what he saw while chasing Logan. I felt like he was so befuddled that he could not cope with what was being shown to him. It was like, ooh, this is magic. You're a wizard or you're a witch or something, because he couldn't put two and two together and say, we've been wrong all this time.
Yeah.
Um,
And I love the actor. That's Richard Jordan.
I'm sorry?
That was Richard Jordan who played. Oh God, what was his character's name? Francis.
Yes.
Francis Seven. Yeah.
Francis Seven.
Yeah, that was Richard Jordan. He's unfortunately he's no longer with us. He's been in a lot of films. I remember him from talk about another sci-fi that was kind of confusing and all that. He was Duncan in Dune. He was also in Hunt for Red October. Those are the ones I can think of right off the top of my head that he's in. And I like the guy, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from. But that kind of goes back to the script that we've all kind of said has issues.
I also kind of have a theory about the acting in this movie. And I mean, this is like a complete act of optimism on my part.
Okay.
But I have a theory that I think they were told to act clueless a lot of the time and to be kind of dense about things, play dumb to an extent.
Okay.
And I think maybe in Francis's case, even, okay, here's your motivation for this scene. You're losing your damn mind.
Yeah.
Because I think that was a lot of what the deal with Francis was, that he just, yeah, like you said, Les, he just couldn't cope. His character just couldn't handle it, and he was just flipping out, basically. Yeah. But I think I think all of that might have been kind of on purpose, because, I mean, it's one way. I don't know that it's a good way, even. It's certainly not the best way, but it's one way to sell the idea that basically the culture that the viewer of the movie understands doesn't exist, because these people don't act anything like the rest of us. They don't act anything like normal people do in our world. It's like an alien. They could have just told them to act like robots or aliens and it would have been fine. Just in order to get that, okay, this is how much culture has changed. And I both hope and fear that that was intentional. I think it gives a little bit of credit back to the actors.
Yeah.
Also, it makes me feel better about what they did, because otherwise, man, they suck. If this wasn't on purpose, then they were terrible. But I hope it was on purpose so that they weren't, and that they actually did a pretty good job of working with what little they had in the script. That is my theory. Do with it what you will.
It works for me.
So who was your actor that did a great job?
Peter Ustinov.
Okay. I agree. His character was definitely a light in the tunnel, because there wasn't much else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He was his character was fun in a movie where there weren't any fun characters.
Yeah.
And to me, his was entertaining because he had not had contact with people.
Yeah.
So his amazement was, to me, believable.
Yep, he'd been talking to cats for years and years, exclusively. Essentially, he's the crazy cat lady of the movie. But he does it really well, and two, it makes sense, like you said, in there. Yeah, and he's the one that gets to that Logan and Jessica get to experience in a way that basically they haven't paid attention to people that much before, and any time in their lives. And all of a sudden they've run into this guy, and he's like nothing they've ever seen, and they actually pay attention to him. So that's, I don't know, an interesting point, I guess. I don't know if it's an interesting part of the movie, but it at least starts to make them seem human as well.
Yes.
Although they don't really seem to know what to do with it, obviously.
Well, I mean, I agree. I definitely love the look of the film. Yeah, it is kind of a mess, but I'll just sit there and watch it just for the look of it. Like you said, the money that was spent on the models, the special effects, and all that. I enjoyed the heck out of it, but try not to read too much into the story, because it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't hold up much.
No.
You can almost watch it muted. You get the same effect.
Yeah.
But anyway.
And then the whole thing of what was it? They were going to get their face changed or something like that. That's how.
Oh yeah, the new face thing.
Yeah, that's where Farrah Fawcett's character showed up and all that. Boy, that was.
That was a wild scene.
That was a wild scene. Yes.
Yeah.
I bet they spent some money on that prop.
Yep.
And on putting in those lasers in post production.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Farrah being the prop.
Oh no! See,
I agreed with you.
See, and I thought she actually went a long way towards selling the idea that everybody is just walking around in a daze all the time, because man, they kind of told her what to say.
Yeah.
There in the end.
And then they were like, oh, okay, let's believe them.
Right, and they're like, okay, if you say so, and then they're just gone.
Yeah.
Really? Damn.
Sarah said okay.
Yeah, and the fact that Jessica's sitting there telling her, you saw this, and you saw this, and you saw this, remember? Yeah, sure, okay. And
we're not friends or anything.
Right, I just met you 20 minutes ago, but obviously you're right. Wow. And okay, we're just gonna believe you now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Just a little bit of a stretch. That's all.
Just a tad.
But it's very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't taken by all of the special effects. To me, there were several that just sucked big time. The release of the people that was spoken of earlier, they were in such a disarray. They come out of one location and start running down toward the water. They don't know what running water is. They've had whatever liquids inside the dome, and that's just about all. So to be freed like this and take an attitude and seeing a man of age and believe that he's almost God, just, it floors me. I'm sorry, I can't say that it's all that believable. To me, people would, they would decline, or they would at least be pensive about nearing somebody that they didn't know, somebody that from a different world, and to think that he's okay, he's an old man. Well, you don't know if he's okay. You don't know if you're okay.
None of them have ever seen an old man before.
No.
So they don't know what that means. Doesn't mean anything to them.
Yep.
So yeah.
What if the old man was like a frog? When you touch him, you got wrinkles.
Is that what they told you when you were a kid, Liz?
That's a fine analogy right there, young lady.
Fine as frog's hair.
Oh. Oh. That was good, but oh.
It was good and bad.
It really wasn't good.
You're both right. Just like this movie. Yeah.
I did not read the book, but I would like to see what differences there are. To me, Box would have been more threatening in the book than what it was on the screen. So I'm thinking, if that's possible, they should have probably stretched on that a little more than what they did.
Box almost could have been his own whole movie.
True.
Or just skipped it entirely.
That's another way to look at it, yeah.
That's an option also, yes. I think that scene needed to be about twice as long as it was, if it needed to be there at all. But yeah, because I think they skated through that way too fast.
Skated. Uh-huh.
Okay, that wasn't even on purpose.
It was almost like it was an afterthought.
Yeah.
How can we get
we need to put
Roscoe Lee Brown into this movie?
And we need
I got an idea.
Well,
we need to put
if you remember when they got there, they were wet. And he says, we need to take our clothes off before they freeze to us, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they grab the blanket or the furs and everything else, and then the robot shows up. Boom, their clothes are back on underneath there.
They stopped and put their clothes back on, but that didn't actually make sense to me either. Because it hadn't been 10 minutes. Their clothes were not dry yet. There's no way. I think it was just an excuse to get them naked.
I think you're right.
I mean, the whole thing struck me as an excuse anyway, the whole scene. They needed one more random encounter, which would have been a really interesting thing if it had been long enough for it to make sense. I mean, the idea of that being there is odd, but then again, we don't really know how the city works to begin with. So it could very well be normal. But some of the ideas behind it are just they either need more explanation or less.
Yeah. I agree. I think Les could have made this better.
Wow.
I was disappointed. I didn't spot Roscoe Lee Brown in that either. I did not recognize his voice.
I didn't either.
They messed with his voice in post, and
I thought it was Vincent Price at first.
I didn't recognize it because he's got a really identifiable voice.
Well, and that's the thing. If you hired him for his distinctive voice, why fuck it up?
Right. Why put reverb and echo in it and make it unrecognizable? That's stupid. I am glad George Lucas learned from that mistake also. But anyway.
I'm thinking they may not have given a part to him because of his voice.
I saw something. Hang on. I think it was supposed to be somebody else as the robot.
Buddy Ebsen?
Oh, man.
No. It just said that he voiced and performed Box, the robot, on set. The unwilling costume made it impossible for Brown to right himself if he fell over.
Yeah.
Just knocked the robot over. And there's about 8 scenes, actually, that were filmed in Arlington, Fort Worth, and Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they were mainly scenes there at the water.
Mm-hmm. One was Zales corporate office. What was?
Oh, yeah, like the mall area or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Oz Restaurant and Nightclub in Dallas. And a health center in Arlington. Hang on, let's see what that is.
Yeah, the gym that they ran through after the orgy thing.
Well, it was the place where he went and talked to his friend in the hot tub.
Oh, the hot tub scene, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The contractually obligated hot tub scene.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it was contractually obligated or not. I'm kidding, but
could have been.
It could very well have been. Seems weird that it was Richard Jordan that was in the hot tub, but anyway.
Okay.
Is this a recommended movie then? Is this one that you would tell people to watch?
I'd say at least once. I mean, you know.
Just for the special effects and the visuals. I mean, it's an interesting. I don't know. I'm not sure I would say it has really aged all that well either, but I mean, if you're big into science fiction, then yeah, you should watch this movie. Does it have much else going for it? No, not really.
Yeah. Same.
Well, it's just because you had to watch it doesn't mean everybody should have to watch it.
I think you and I can disagree on that point. I think everybody else should be forced to go through what we went through. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
No, whatever. I mean,
double feature with Schlock.
We're willing. Oh.
I only said that because of the Blob comment before the show started.
No, you're not. You're not sorry at all.
I don't think she said she was sorry, man.
No, she didn't say that.
I didn't hear sorry in that. I heard delight and joy in that. Besides, I think we liked Schlock pretty much.
Yeah, we did.
Now, if you're going to double feature it with the Black Hole.
There you go.
Haven't seen it.
I know.
Yes.
Or The Return of the Blob.
Oh, yeah, the blah was, yeah. The sequel, the quote-unquote sequel. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with the general consensus I found online, which was meh.
Yeah.
It was like 6 out of 10 or whatever, something like that. Can't argue with that.
That kind of says it all. Just meh.
Yep.
There's better, there's worse.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, by far.
Both directions.
Yep. Is this one if you heard they were going to remake this, would you go, I might be interested if they work on the script? Or would you say no?
I would, just to see what was different.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know that I have enough of a sense of where the story should go
Right.
to judge too much, so I'd probably watch a remake of this, just out of curiosity.
Or if it's closer to the book, which I've not read the book either. So
This movie does not make me want to read the book either. That's the problem.
Well, they said there was a TV series after this.
Yes, there was.
Yes.
After they destroyed the city?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
I wonder if it was like a prequel before they destroy.
I wonder if it would be more like Caveman or something, because all these completely useless people trying to figure out how to survive.
Right, with nothing.
Right.
No electricity, no water.
Just an old guy who can't remember his own name.
He's living in a gutted Congress building.
I haven't watched that in forever, and of course that's not something that's shown anymore. But I remember it being, what was it, Gregory Harrison playing Logan?
I believe that sounds right.
Let's see here. Yep.
Not exactly a high point for his career.
Hopefully the writing was better in the series, you know.
Well, didn't they do a Planet of the Apes TV series too?
Yeah.
And that wasn't good at all.
That actually had Mark Leonard and Roddy McDowell.
Wow.
At least they had 7 successful, or was it 7 or 5? I'm forgetting now. Successful movies to start with. This was just sort of a meh.
The TV show also had Donald Moffat.
Ooh.
Probably best known as Gary from John Carpenter's The Thing. The station commander.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Now I'm kind of curious, actually. I wonder if someone's showing that. Someone's got to be showing it somewhere.
I bet you can find it somewhere.
Yeah, I'll look for it. Okay. Well, on that note, unless anybody else has anything else to add, I think we will take a break and come back with our weekly picks. And we're back. It's time for our weekly picks, and leading off this week is Les.
Thank you, sir. From Boom Studios comes Berserker #2. The mysterious character Berserker has had a lifetime of tragedy and violence. And now the Dr. Diana Ahuja has tried to unlock the memories of Berserker. The question is Doctor there to help him, or is there a different agenda there? I enjoyed the first issue. I'm kind of looking forward to this one too. Try this one out. Berserker.
Cool.
Cool. I'm glad that's turning into something good.
Yeah.
Could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it sounds interesting so far, and just a kind of a little nugget for you out there. If you go in and pick up number 2 and pick up number 1, depending on if your local comic book shop is involved, you may actually get a 8th printing of number 1 of Something's Killing the Children.
Interesting.
Mhm.
So I think that's a kind of cool thing for Boom to do. So
That's
That
a good
is.
investment.
yeah,
Also, 8th printing. Holy cow.
eighth
Right.
printing. 8th printing.
Damn.
Man,
I think we all called that one, didn't we?
I know it was a pick, but
Oh.
I don't know if we were expecting it to be this well received.
Mm.
Yeah.
But man, I'm happy about that. It's a really good book.
Mm.
Alrighty, Liz.
All right. For my first pick, I think we've talked about this one too. It's called Bedtime Stories for Impressionable Children Annual 1. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, this should actually be issue number 2 because they're calling this the comic that COVID couldn't kill. Number 2, yeah, here it is. Number 2 was in the pipeline when lockdown hit. And so instead of releasing it as number 2, they're going to release it as an annual. It's 48 pages, and we're getting 5 stories inside of this. The thing that really grabs my attention on this is the cover of this, and this is why I think we've talked about this before. On the cover, they have aliens in a spaceship, but the spaceship that they're sitting in front of is actually a spaceship that's out in Royce City off of Highway 205. It's a orange spaceship, like out in the middle of nowhere. So, pretty cool. And actually, we've inquired about it before because it was like, what the hell? I mean, Royce City of all places, They said at one time they were supposed to be like in the 60s, they were supposed to be like green friendly homes, like real low in electricity and everything else. And they only built like 6 of them, and people didn't like them. Of course they didn't like them. It's like you're living in a spaceship. I mean, there's no corners. It's all round. That would drive me crazy.
Yeah, only if they ask you to go stand in the corner.
Right. Here, honey, go put my purse in the corner.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, it's an interesting way to cut corners, but
Damn.
But if you remember way back to the first one, this is the second one.
cool.
Awesome. Glad it's finally getting out there then.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Mike.
Oh, yeah, I get to go.
Yeah, you get to go.
Hey, woo. Gotta quit being squirreled by something else. But so my first pick.
Squirrels are mine.
Yeah, I know.
It's
Yeah,
all those corner jokes.
we got plenty of them in my house too, because there's some ADD happening over here too. But anyway, from Valiant, my first pick is from Valiant, and I'm picking Shadow Man #1, because Shadow Man is a fun, interesting character. He is kind of a supernatural protector of reality type, and I am looking forward to seeing how they're going to give him kind of a new start this time around, because Colin Bunn's driving, and that always turns out fun. He did some fun stuff with Punk Mambo a year or two ago, and so I think, and also he's done a lot of other fun stuff. So I am looking forward to seeing where he takes this one.
Cool.
Good choice.
Yeah, I'm intrigued as well. Yep. All right, it is my turn, and for my first pick, I'm going with the title from American Mythology Productions, Robonic Stooges Return, and this is based off the cartoon back in the 70s of the Three Stooges being superheroic robots. I vaguely remember seeing some of the cartoons and all this, but it looks like it'd be fun. I've loved how American mythology has handled the Stooges characters in some of the other books. So I'm kind of intrigued on how this is going. And of course, the cover for this is perfect because it is a parody of Infinity Gauntlet.
Oh, wow.
So Moe's got like the gauntlet, and it's just crazy. So if you get a chance, take a look at it. It's great. So should be fun.
Very
Cool.
impressive.
That's cool.
Alrighty, Les, you're up again.
Let's see. For my second choice, I'm going with starring Sonia Devereaux, Death Team 5, number 1. This is a continuation of the series of starring Sonia Devereaux, who is considered the 306th best actress in Hollywood. And in this one, she is in a sword and sorcery movie, Warrior Women, Death Team 5. I'm not going to go into too much explanation for this, but there are several issues of SSD. It's fun, it's easy to take in, and it is funny. It's just a good time. Each issue is a number 1, but in each one she takes on a different movie genre. So find this one and enjoy.
Cool.
Yep, they're pretty entertaining.
Yep. Alrighty, Liz, you're up.
All right, for my second pick, I'm going with a trade from Source Point Press. It's called Bug Bites. This is collecting a mini series that Corrine Roberts did. It's about children who go missing, and nobody really has an explanation for it. And so this little girl's friend goes missing, Peter, and she has to find him. Well, she finds a cookbook. I'm not sure how the cookbook comes in, but this puts her on the path of these bug things that are eating the kids. So sounds cute. The artwork looks amazing. So
I'm glad I'm not the only one who doubled back on the eating children sounds cute thing.
yeah, it says it's a bug eat kid world.
They ought to hire you to write their marketing copy. Jeez.
So really,
Ouch.
it's cute. Trust me.
It's cute.
No, it does sound like fun.
Yeah. Fun. Yeah, fun. I can go with fun. Cute, I don't know about cute, but okay.
Let's go with that, okay?
Yeah.
It's my kind of cute.
Right. Which comes
Creepy
with
kind.
Right, which comes with its own set of issues. But anyway.
Alrighty. Mike, save us.
Yes, I'm up next. I have no idea if I can save us, but I'm going to try. My second pick is from Image Comics, and I am picking Helm Greycastle, number 1. This is a first issue of a new story. This sounds interesting to me because it's kind of classic fantasy set in kind of an Aztec type setting. So you've got like sword and sorcery, and you've got like the idea of it drawing in some of the mythology from the Aztecs just sounds like a really cool idea, and I'm looking forward to seeing how this pans out.
That is pretty cool.
Cool.
I like it.
Yeah. Alrighty. I am next, and for my second choice is a new book from Antarctic Press entitled OBE, Out of Body Experience. And it takes place at this familiar place that we all are aware of, the dystopian near future. And the civilization is addicted to being out of body, having an out of body experience. And the story focuses on this detective who is investigating a killer who has figured out how to kill in this other realm. So he's trying to figure out how, to catch an out of body killer. And I'm like, okay, this sounds interesting.
It does sound interesting.
That
I
does.
agree.
That's not where I thought that was going at first.
Uh-uh.
But yeah, that sounds cool.
So, all
What is
right.
it about the future that doesn't like clothes and bodies?
We'll talk about that later, Liz.
I think Spielberg said it best. There are no bras in space.
I don't know, because there's no
Was
gravity.
that Spielberg or was that Lucas?
It was Lucas. You're right. Thank you.
Yeah, and what Spielberg said was, "Who the hell are you and why are you on my set?"
That's right.
That's true.
Yeah, what Spielberg says is, why you keep putting rabbit ears behind my head? I'm sorry, I bring that up because I've seen someone had posted pictures recently, and it seems like that's all George was doing. There is a picture of when Scorsese received the Oscar, and there's a picture of Scorsese, and to his right is Coppola, and behind them is Spielberg and Lucas. Spielberg is behind Scorsese, Lucas is behind Coppola. And Coppola is watching as Lucas is putting rabbit ears behind Scorsese.
Nice.
It's a great picture. It's a great picture. So anyway, great picks. Some very interesting books coming out this week. So. All right. Any special shout-outs or mentions?
Not me.
No.
Nothing here.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to our regular shout-outs. First off, I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be a part of a great group of fellow podcasts. Definitely check them out. There will be a link in our show notes. Thank you, guys. And we also want to thank the fine men and women who make up Potter and Family, who've been gracious enough to spread the word of the fellowship on Twitter by retweeting our show links. Definitely want you to check out their fine work. The best way to do that is do a search, hashtag Potter and Family, one word. Just scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, by all means, please download that. Click on that link, download the episode, and hope you have a good time listening. Thank you guys, as always. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for applying the music to our podcast. In our show notes, you'll find a link to where you can check out some of their fine work. And last but certainly not least, thank you, dear listener, for downloading and listening to today's episode. We would love to hear from you. Any questions, comments, suggestions, complaints, observations, what have you, please send them our way. There are several ways you can do that. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website, click on the About Us link, and there's a contact form you can fill out. We've also already mentioned our Discord. You can join there. There is a channel specifically designed for feedback, if you have any, or if you like to reach out to one of us personally on Discord, you can do that. There's also our social media. We are on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks, and on Twitter, we are @Fellowship Geeks. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @Mikey Geek, Liz can be found at LN_geek. Les may or may not be found at fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you would be so kind as to rate and review us, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We do appreciate your support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,